We're going to be talking through the fundamental movement skill called the overarm throw. The fundamental movement skill in which we chose to demonstrate was the overarm throw. Throwing involves propelling a ball or other object away from the body to reach a target. It is used in conjunction with catching. Throwing is involved and is a major part of many sports. For example, it is used in netball, basketball, cricket, and baseball, to name a few. Knowing how to overarm throw is fundamental to student learning and movement. Being able to overarm throw can help to improve not only hand-eye coordination, but basic coordination skills and balance as well. Throwing and catching skills are an important component of many games and activities played by students not only in primary school, but perhaps for later years. Throwing helps with the development of gross motor skills, which require whole body movement to perform everyday functions such as walking, running, and skipping. It helps to develop muscular strength and endurance, motor planning, balance, coordination, and body awareness. Being able to throw will help build confidence in many areas and will help in increased participation levels and increased enjoyment. The overarm throw should be taught in the foundation year at primary school. These 6-year-olds lack movement competence, so they need to learn and improve their motor skills. According to the Victorian curriculum, children at the foundation level should be able to perform fundamental movement skills and solve movement challenges. Throwing is a fundamental movement skill that needs to be taught early. Here you can see the child having their first go at an overarm throw with the teacher watching. It is evident the throw needs improvement. Many modifications can be made with an overarm throw to make it easier or harder depending on the level of the student performing. A sack, tennis ball, and netball are 3 objects which will change the difficulty level of throwing. For teaching the fundamental movement skill of throwing to different developmental levels and a diversity of skill levels, you can modify the size of the object you are throwing and increasing the difficulty of the targets you are hitting. Here you can see the student practicing the skill using the different modifications whilst the teacher is still prompting them at all times. The students should stand on the side of the activity so they are not interfering with the direction of the ball. The teacher should then be in front of the student so they can see exactly how the teacher is demonstrating the skill and mimic the actions on the sideline without any equipment. This positioning enables the teacher a clear view of the students practicing, and they will be able to provide feedback if they need to make any adjustments. When getting the students to practice this skill with equipment, you should position them in a line with space in between them so all students will be throwing in the same direction. This will ensure that all students are safe and will not get balls thrown at them. To teach the overarm throw to students, you need to provide them with key teaching points or steps so they can learn easily. With the overarm throw, the young student needs to know where their dominant throwing arm is. There are 2 ways to find this out without confusing them. The first way is placing an object in front of them and asking them to bend down and pick it up with one hand. The student will generally use their favoured arm to do so, and evidently this will be their throwing arm. The other way is to get the students to stand up straight yet relaxed. You then need to give them a small nudge. The student's instinct will be to put their favoured foot forward so they don't fall. This will also determine their preferred throwing arm. So step 1 is to grasp the object with one hand. Step 2, stand with your non-preferred foot facing the target with their throwing arm away behind their head. Their non-throwing hand should be pointing at the target. Step 3, move your body's momentum onto your back foot. Step 4, rotate hips whilst throwing arms forward. And Step 5. Release the ball before your arm is at full extension. Instructional cues are simple terms that children can think about whilst performing an overarm throw. So step 1, side on. Step 2, arms out straight. Step 3, strongman position. Step 4, target. Step 5, lean and push. These basic words can be repeated methodically in the student's mind to help them remember the process of the overarm throw. Here we can see the student putting the instructional cues taught previously into action. It is important for the students to undergo activities once the skill is mastered. The activity we can see here has cones set up in front of the thrower. Each colour cones represent a different score so that the students are motivated to reach the highest score. It is important to have the cones within a realistic distance so the students can experience success to ensure engagement to further develop the skill. For more advanced students, you could include harder targets such as throwing objects into hoops, as seen earlier into the presentation, or increasing the size of the ball and decreasing the size of the target. When teaching a skill, there will be common errors that the teacher needs to be aware of and provide feedback to the students. Some common errors when performing an overarm throw are losing balance when throwing, taking your eyes off the target, releasing the ball at the wrong time, failing to rotate hips, and putting the wrong foot forward. Here you can see the student is concentrating on the instructional cues and loses balance whilst releasing the ball. The teacher then approaches the student and provides feedback on how to help without losing balance. The feedback given has helped the student to experience success. It is important to give students effective feedback when learning a skill such as the overarm throw. Feedback can help to draw attention to the positive elements of the performance, help to give constructive criticism, which is advice that provokes the student to improve task performance, refer to changes in performance from previous efforts, and include an element of self-assessment by students, also including peer assessment as part of the process of encouraging student independence. For further information, you could refer to the AITSL Graduate Standards website, the Fundamental Motor Skill Activity Resource Booklet, the Teaching Quality Health and Physical Education textbook, and the Victorian Curriculum website.